Friends, our world is truly strange and mysterious. When you observe it, it behaves one way, but when you don't, it behaves completely differently. You might think I'm talking nonsense, but it's true. This was discovered through the Double Slit Experiment in quantum physics. The results of this experiment still baffle scientists today. It made them realize that they know very little about our world. In today's episode, we'll learn what this experiment was and what it reveals. So you are watching Science and Secrets, and let's get started with today's episode. Friends, explaining quantum physics is quite challenging, but I will try to explain the double slit experiment in simple language. Before we delve into the quantum world, let's first understand how particles and waves behave. Marbles exhibit particle behavior. When you fire them at a single slit with a gun, they pass through and create a straight line on the back wall. If we use two slits instead of one, we'll see two straight lines on the back wall. If we pass a wave through a single slit, a straight line will appear on the back wall where the wave's maximum intensity hits. This line is similar to the one created by the marbles. But when we use two slits instead of one, something different happens. We know that waves have points where the crest meets the trough. When a crest from one wave meets the trough from another, they cancel each other out, creating an interference pattern. On the back wall, where the crests meet, the intensity is highest, forming bright lines. Where the crest and the trough cancel out, nothing appears, creating dark spaces. This means that with waves, we get a bright line and several less bright lines, with dark spaces in between each bright line. So far, we understand that when matter passes through two slits, we see two straight lines on the back wall. And when waves pass through two slits, we see an interference pattern with multiple lines. Now, let's move into the quantum world. An electron is a small particle of matter. Let's pass it through a single slit, just like we did with the marbles. It behaves exactly like a marble, creating a single straight line on the back wall. Everything seems normal, right? This means that when we pass it through two slits, we should see two straight lines on the back wall, just like with the marbles. But what's this? It's an interference pattern which waves show. But we fired electrons, which are small particles of matter. Why are they behaving like waves? How? Physicists thought maybe the electrons were colliding with each other, causing this pattern. So, they used a gun that fires one electron at a time to prevent collisions. After 10 hours, they were amazed to see that even this time, the electrons created an interference pattern with several lines on the back wall. This was only possible if the electrons transformed from particles to waves before passing through the slits, then transformed back into particles to hit the back wall. Mathematically, this was almost impossible because they should either pass through one slit or the other. Their constant change in nature puzzled scientists. They decided to observe what was really happening with the electrons. They set up an observer machine near the slits to monitor the electrons' tiniest changes. But what happened next stunned them. This time, the electrons showed particle behavior, creating only two straight lines on the back wall. Surprisingly, when the observer was removed, the electrons displayed the interference pattern, but when observed, they behaved like particles. It seemed like the electrons knew they were being watched and changed their behavior accordingly. How they do this remains a mystery to scientists even today. Scientists tried this experiment with different types of observers and ensured the observers didn't generate any electric or electromagnetic fields. Yet every time, the electrons behaved the same way. Our world is made of these electrons. This means our world might also behave differently when we're not observing it. The great scientist Albert Einstein believed this too. So next time you close your eyes to sleep, think about it. Maybe the world isn't the same as you see it before you sleep and after you wake up. Quantum physics has many such mysteries that remain beyond scientists' understanding. If you want to know more about quantum physics, subscribe to this channel. If you liked this episode, give it a thumbs up, and if you want more videos related to quantum physics, let me know in the comments. So friends, see you in another interesting episode. Until then, goodbye.